Okay, so picture this. You build your neighbor a bridge. You pay for the whole thing. You use US supplies and also staff as well. And you give part ownership to Michigan. And then the clown at the top says it's an unfair deal for the United States. Yeah, that's the whole fiasco with the Gordie Howe Bridge right now. But we all know why. It's because of the billionaire owner of the other bridge, the Ambassador Bridge, decided to cry to Nutlick. And we all know why. It's because the Gordie Howe Bridge is going to take some of his profits. So then Nutlick went out to go talk to the Tangerine Tyrant, basically to get the bridge stopped. For our international viewers, hopefully that was a good summary for the whole Gordie Howe Bridge fiasco. But it appears it might actually be opening soon, as early as this Friday. And the first thing that comes to my mind is how much traffic will be diverted from the Ambassador Bridge over to the new Gordie Howe Bridge. So I guess we'll find out soon, but to be honest, I'm not going to believe this bridge is going to open until I see the first car across. Okay, so this is a bit of an update, and I'm editing this video after I created it. But after having this video up and running, ready for publishing on YouTube, one of our viewers named Glenn told me that the bridge has now been delayed. And I created this video on Wednesday and had it ready for Thursday, but obviously I need to make an update because the bridge is not opening anymore. But thanks, Glenn, for giving me the heads up on this. Now, everything I say in the video is still valid. It's just that I might need to make an announcement that it's not opening anymore. And I actually called it. Later on in the video, you're going to see that I said I'm not going to believe it's going to be open until I see a car cross. Alright, let's get back to the video. This just shows you how fast the current events change. So who knows when the official first birthday will be. Now, speaking of birthdays, the United States 250th is coming up. And, everyone outside the borders, we don't care. And to be honest, in some of the comments I've seen, a lot of US citizens don't care as well. But the 250th is going to put the spotlight on the United States. And all the flaws of the United States right now is going to be showcased front and center. So we're going to talk about both of this in this video. And let me start off with a report from CBC on the Gordie Howe Bridge.
The long-awaited Gordie Howe International Bridge connecting Windsor, Ontario and Detroit, Michigan is now finally set to open on Friday.
It's positive news. Obviously, the bridge will be open at the end of the week, and a symbol, but also a fact of cooperations between our countries.
Now, I'm not sure if I would use the word cooperation. I mean, especially when it comes to the United States. But I understand Prime Minister Mark Carney, he's got to be politically correct. But the thing is, anything could happen between now and Friday. I mean, when I'm recording this video, it's Wednesday. And the Tangerine Tyrant, he could just say, no, it's not opening unless I cut the ribbon myself. I mean, that's something he would totally want to do. Let me know in the comments below if you agree with me on that. Do you think he's going to pull a stunt just before it opens? Let everyone know in the comments below.
But that partnership has been under strain. The opening stalled after Donald Trump threatened to block the bridge altogether back in February. A White House official said Tuesday that the president's position hasn't changed and that the administration remains committed to securing the best possible deal for the American people.
Okay, so this is where I feel it's not even about the best deal for the United States. It's really about the billionaire. Because the United States, they have the best deal right now. We paid for it. We used U.S. workers and U.S. materials, and Michigan gets part ownership of it. I mean, what else could you possibly want? That's why I feel it's nothing to do with what's fair for the United States. It's all to do with this billionaire. Because this billionaire who owns the Ambassador Bridge, he's already lowered the tolls a little bit, and I'm pretty sure he can see the writing on the wall. Now, the biggest question is, for any commercial traffic that's going to the United States, will our Canadian truckers decide to use the Gordie Howe Bridge? Personally, I hope they do. And I hope nobody uses the Ambassador Bridge anymore.
That deal likely refers to demands from Trump for a cut of the bridge's tolls.
We're in the middle of a commercial contract.
Canada and Michigan co-own the bridge as part of their 2012 agreement. But Canada covered the construction costs, $6.4 billion, that would be reimbursed through tolls. Future tolls will then be split equally with Michigan.
Now the United States is reneging on that agreement. And that should be of concern to everybody.
Not surprised at all with this U.S. administration. I mean, if you pay for the whole thing, isn't it fair that you make your money back first and then you split it? I don't know. Part of me still thinks this is a cop-out. I still think it's about the billionaire.
Still, Michigan lawmakers are hopeful the opening will proceed.
What was clear is that...
Oh my God, this woman's in this clip. I didn't even know she was in this clip. In case you don't know who she is, she's the Michigan senator that is basically saying China cars are bad and that they're spy vehicles. If you haven't seen my previous video yet on her, I pushed that video out a couple days ago. You can take a look at it.
Everybody except for a few actors here wanted that bridge open. It was deeply bipartisan, and I'm thrilled, and I will be there at the opening.
Ontario's premier, much more cautious.
Well, let's see if it opens or not. Hopefully it will. I'm just hearing two stories, but that's all right.
I always have faith that it will be open.
But there's excitement in Windsor's Sandwich Town, a neighborhood that is literally sandwiched between the Gordie Howe Bridge and the privately owned Ambassador Bridge.
I've got pictures of the whole process. I've walked down there many times just to watch.
Now, I'm not from the area, so I don't know how big this bridge is or how it will impact both sides. But I do know that we have lots in the GTL community from the area. I mean, all the Gordie Howe Bridge photos I showed earlier, they're from the community. So thank you to everyone who sent me the photos. But my biggest question is, with this new bridge coming in, obviously it's not going to help the US side because, the boycott's still on, we're not going. But having this new bridge, will it help the Windsor side or this sandwich town? Let me know in the comments below. I'm actually kind of curious.
But some here in Windsor haven't been too thrilled with the way U.S. President Donald Trump has treated Canada. And so while they're eager to see this bridge open up, they're not really planning to cross the border anytime soon.
And Jennifer, to that point, do we have a sense of when vehicles will actually start crossing that bridge?
So Windsor's mayor says the bridge opening celebration will be on Friday, but it's still unclear when traffic will move across that span. But when it does, it could mean hundreds of thousands of trucks involving billions in cross-border trade will start using it, easing up congestion on the neighboring Ambassador Bridge.
And also reducing the amount of revenue that the Ambassador Bridge is getting. I really do hope that everybody switches over to the Gordie Howe Bridge. I mean, can you imagine, there's no cars going over Ambassador anymore? I know I have some truckers in the GTL community that cross into the United States. So if you do, and you do use the Ambassador Bridge, let us know. Would you be switching over? But while the ribbon cutting is going to be done on this, what did they say, Friday? I won't believe that it'll fully open until I see the first car cross over. Now, moving on to the next topic is about the US 250th birthday, which nobody outside their border cares about. I'm going to bet that there's going to be reports when the Gordie Howe Bridge does eventually open, but they're going to say it's going to be more accessible for Canadians to come down and celebrate their 250th. Well, your 250th can go shove it if you ask me. And I think my cat agrees with me as well. But this article here, this 250th anniversary is supposed to showcase the great United States of America. But what it's actually going to do, it's going to show all the flaws front and center. I mean, what the hell is this? How's the world supposed to take the United States seriously when they got a big UFC cage in front of the White House? In all honesty, the White House and the United States is starting to look a little bit more like this scene from Back to the Future Part 2. This scene where Marty McFly goes into the future and then Biff Tannen's president and all hell has broken loose. That's basically what it feels like right now. But I'm going to go over some of the paragraphs in this article. It's a long one, so I won't be able to read out the whole thing. But if you do want to read it on your own, the link will be in the description below. Alright, let's get started on this article. There's a long tradition of reading a nation's character in the way it marks its own milestones. When the United States turned 150, Philadelphia raised a 80-foot-tall luminous replica of the Liberty Bell and hosted a 6-month sesquicentennial international exposition. When it turned 200, a country shaken by Vietnam, Watergate, and political assassinations, nonetheless found in its bicentennial a movement of genuine collective catharsis. 1 million people on the National Mall, the Freedom Train, crossing 48 states, tall ships sailing into New York Harbor. Will contemporaries judge the emotional centerpiece of a nation not triumphant, but still capable of dignity? Next month, the United States turns 250. The centerpiece was to be a great American state fair, a World Fair-style celebration, stretched from the Capitol to the Washington Monument. Within days of its concert lineup being announced, more than half the acts withdrew, saying they had been misled about the event's political character. U.S. President Taco Tuesday responded on social media to the artist's walkout by proposing to replace them with what he describes as the #1 attraction anywhere in the world. Oof, I could hear him in my head as I read that out. He has since confirmed that he will headline the opening ceremony personally. What? Before the main commemorations, cage fighting is scheduled to take place on the south lawn of the White House. Okay, this is how ridiculous it is. I mean, your 250th birthday, and you're gonna have cage fighting on the lawn of the White House. I mean, why don't you just add a shooting range and a rodeo right beside it? And also a McDonald's drive-thru while you're at it. Anyways, back to the article. The planned spectacle tells you something about where the American power now stands. Decline is notoriously difficult to measure in real time. Republics rarely announce their turning points. Historians locate them later, working backwards from wreckage. But this indicator that matter are no longer ambiguous. In 1970, the US share of global gross domestic product stood at over 1/3 of the world economy. It's now around 25%. Yikes. Anyways, soft power is eroding faster. In Europe, according to one poll, 74% now view the US unfavorably, a figure that exceeds even the 61% who view China unfavorably. Across the globe, countries that once competed for proximity to Washington are openly hedging against it. Some of this trajectory predates the current administration, but Taco Tuesday's Washington has not simply inherited a weak position. It has converted the weakness into a doctrine. It has weaponized tariffs against allies, gutted the diplomatic corps, dismantled foreign aid infrastructure built across decades, and withdrawn from the multilateral architecture that America itself constructed after 1945. NATO commitments have been treated as negotiating leverage. Now, the thing about this screenshot that really kind of comes out to my mind is how much damage has been done in 16 months. To have 74% of Europeans say that they view the US unfavorably within 16 months, that's pretty damn impressive if you ask me. Impressive in a way of like destroying your own country. But the scary and funny thing is that they don't actually see it as destroying their country. Somehow they see it as a positive. Anyways, moving on. What is being assembled for 2026 is the opposite. A celebration so factionalist that working musicians from 30 years ago don't want to associate with it. The structural reality is more telling. Congress established a bipartisan semi-quintessential commission in 2016, a decade of planning with Republican and Democratic legislators, serving alongside each other to ensure the anniversary would belong to the country rather than to which administration happened to be in the office when it arrived. Taco Tuesday created Freedom 250 by executive order to run parallel events, then starved the congressional body of funds. America 250 reported a 100 million shortfall after receiving a fraction of what it expected federal allocation, while Freedom 250 is estimated to have collected 80 million in taxpayer dollars. I wonder how much of this went into Taco Tuesday's pocket. The Republic's own official celebratory institution was not simply sidelined, but defunded in favor of a privately organized alternative. Now, last screenshot I want to show. The irony is that America has a story worth telling, genuinely, not as a consolation. The Republic's history is not clean. The dispossession and near annihilation of indigenous people, the centuries-long machinery of slavery, the Jim Crow decades that found formal emancipation. These are constitutive facts, not footnotes. What made the American experience remarkable is that in better chapters was not absence in those crimes, but the capacity built through constitutional architecture, independent courts, and generations of social pressure from below to confront them and, however, slowly change. The capacity to produce something real, a post-war order that rebuilt shattered economies, sought to promote freedom and help create the conditions under which more than 1 billion people escaped poverty. Other nations contributed, but arguably no nation contributed more. It's precisely the kind of record that requires institutions, alliances, and a civic seriousness capable of carrying its weight, none of which will be visible on the National Mall on July 4th. The US will turn 250 next month. The party it is throwing is the most honest thing about it. Now, that last sentence right there is what I 100% agree with. Whatever we're going to see for their 250th anniversary, it's going to be a shit show, and unfortunately that's what the United States deserves. I know for some of my US viewers it might hurt to hear that. But whatever party this private company called Freedom 250 puts out, and stole the money from America 250, whatever party they throw is what the United States deserves right now. And judging from the current setup, if you ask me, it looks like a clown show right now. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't want the United States to fail. But it's unfortunately, you guys brought it on yourself. And it saddens me. I'm not directing this at the US citizens that support my channel. I'm talking about your fellow US citizens that don't care about what's going on. And the rest of the world, we're still watching. We're still listening for the rhetoric, and we're still writing things down and taking notes of everything that's been done. But I do hope that one day, maybe down the road, I don't know when, we can start taking positive notes about your country. To close off this video, I would like to thank my mom for sending me this photo of Grouse Mountain. I'm not sure where in Vancouver she took it, but she was able to use her DSLR camera, and she was able to get a photo of it without being too pixelated. So thanks again, Mom, for sending this over. Alright everyone, I gotta get some rest, and this is it for this video. If you found any value in anything I said today, or you want to hear more from a Canadian and international point of view, without the US media bias, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button below. That way you'll be notified of my future videos. And don't forget to hit the bell icon and select all as well. Now if you want to see more of my videos, check out the ones that are going to show up on your screen shortly. Thanks everyone, I'll catch you in the next one.